and good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. I'm Mubina Kapasi. The show is all about the big movers and shakers in trade. For now, the market is managing to stay pretty resilient. We have the Nifty perched firmly above 11,700. Sensex clocking in gains of 175 points. And finally, a semblance of outperformance by the broader markets, especially the small cap index, which after cracking 1% yesterday, today is higher by 0.6%. But yes, the show is all about individual stocks. So let's get straight to that. We have with us Rajesh Palviya of Securities, and we will be joined by Richard Jain of Angel Broking in just a bit. These two gentlemen will join us and share with us their technical strategies. Good morning to you, Soumya Sharma as well. Good afternoon rather, and Soumya Sharma as well is joining in. And Soumya, let's start off with you. There's that big acquisition by HDFC's insurance arm, which is going to make it the second biggest private insurance player.
Well, that's right, and in fact HDFC has bought 51.2% stake in Apollo Munich Health for an approximate value of 1,350 rupees for cash, and in fact this will be a two-stage process. They will be acquiring 50.8% stake in Apollo Munich from the Apollo Hospital Group, and 0.4% stake by a few employees to be acquired for a consideration of 10.8 crore rupees. Now the two-stage process is they will merge Apollo Munich with HDFC Ergo post the buying of Apollo Munich, and this entire transaction is expected to be completed in next 9 months. With this, Apollo Hospital will be completely exiting their stake in Apollo Munich. As far as CLSA is concerned, they believe this acquisition will help HDFC Ergo to deepen its ties in the entire health insurance space, and with the proceeds from this stake sale, Apollo Hospitals will be reducing the amount of pledged shares in the company.
Okay, moving on, Bharat Financial and IndusInd Bank, these two stocks is what we want to flag off, as finally the effective date for the merger between the two entities has been fixed for the 4th of July. Do remember the ratio is 639 shares for every 1,000 held, and yes, Mr. M.R. Rao will be appointed as the MD and CEO as well of the merged entity. So that is the latest coming in, 3.5% higher for Bharat Finance, making its way towards 900 rupees. IndusInd Bank as well, by the way, is a spot of green today on your screens. And speaking about the entire banking space, Rajesh, it's very interesting to know the kind of up move that is continuing on ICICI Bank. What is your strategy that you would recommend here?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mubina. Yeah, look at the structure of ICICI Bank showing outperformance to all other banks. And even if we look at the previous last few sessions, despite of volatility in the market, ICICI was consolidating in very narrow range. And looking at the today's setup, stock managed to give breakout on the near-term chart. So I feel that stock will continue its upward momentum towards 435 to 440. So even in the decline also, one can add this stock. One should now trail their stop loss to 414.
Okay, that's a hold and target of 440 rupees that Rajesh has on Yes Bank. Soumya, Sun Pharma and here's an ET Now exclusive. What's the news? What did the US FDA say, and what's the reaction on the stock?
Well, yes, ET Now has accessed Form 483 issued to Sun Pharma's Halol facility by US FDA. So they had issued 4 observations in the Form 483, and these observations are pretty much procedural in nature. Well, I think that's what's keeping the stock higher by 3.3%, because the street did not we're happy that these observations are procedural and not pertain to data integrity. In fact, US FDA carried out this inspection between June 3rd to June 11th, and this facility contributes close to about 10% of the total revenues of the facility, and that's why I think despite this observation pointing out, the stock's gaining by over 3.4%.
Well, it certainly is a very important facility, and it's been in the doldrums since I think late 2015. PSP projects, and look at the way that stock spiked this after the company announced that they have received an LOI, or a letter of intent, for orders worth 601 crore rupees for planning, design and construction of a flat type high-rise buildings come commercial units with all infrastructure services for the economically weaker section housing units under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. This is in Maharashtra, and with that the total work orders on a standalone basis has now reached 762 crore rupees. So this is of course a meaty project that they have received. The stock is higher by more than 2%. Shree Cement, Rajesh, the entire cement stocks are a big F&O gainers today. Shree Cement really leading on the charts there. Your view?
Sri Cement is, looking very attractive at the current juncture. Even if you look at the previous data, stock has corrected from the level of around 22,000, but after this corrective action, stock has made a very strong base at around 20,000 level. So now looking at the structure, I feel that, stock can continue further up move towards 21,500 kind of level. So even on the decline also, one can add this stock with a stop loss of 20,750. So stock structure is very positive on the near term chart, and stock is currently trading above all its important moving average. So my recommendation would be to buy the stock for upside target of 21,500.
Okay, 21,500 is what Rajesh is watching out for Sri Cement. That's his target. Richard Jain as well from the Angel Broking joins us now on the show. Richard, let's talk about the massive volatility in Yes Bank. Do you think that can continue, and any levels you're watching out for?
Hi, very good afternoon. Definitely we have seen a lot of correction in the stock since last few weeks, and there are a lot of short positions which may come for some short covering move. But the kind of volatility that we have seen when the prices are correcting, the similar kind of volatility has been expected when the prices go up as well. So from a trading perspective, it would be very difficult to take any call from the Yes Bank, but it has been one of the underperformer within the private sector banks. So we are advising our clients to completely avoid this name as of now. Within the banking space, we believe that ICICI Bank and Kotak Bank are much better placed and are likely to outperform going ahead. So one should use any kind of pullbacks moves in Yes Bank as an opportunity to exit from this and shift towards large cap names such as Kotak Bank and ICICI Bank.
Alright, that is the view, and yes, avoiding trading bets is what Richard is recommending. Soumya, of course, can't ignore the big fall witnessed in a UPL today in trade.
Well, yes, that's right, Mubina. This is one stock that's tumbling in trade. Top mover on the Nifty index. Well, this is after HSBC actually UBS have said, HSBC have actually, I stand corrected, has said that the trade tensions and African swine fever has actually are the key headwinds when it comes to UPL. In fact, soybean demand and pricing are also likely to put and remain under pressure. In fact, they say that Brazil exports have declined to about 9% in 2019, and given that UPL has quite an exposure and are quite diversified globally, would remain under pressure and is a key concern when it comes to UPL. They're although maintaining a buy stance with an unchanged target price of 1,220, but this key headwinds is what's concerning the entire UPL stock, which is down by over 9% today.
Okay, that is the word on UPL, 9% gone. Jet Airways, and look at the way the stock has actually moved. Yesterday and day before yesterday, we saw that sharp knock of almost 30 to 40%, and today a recovery being attempted by the stock back about 40 rupees. Do remember that this evening we are going to be hearing a judgment from the NCLT on the SBI application with respect to the insolvency proceedings, which by the way was also now including the pilots, because they as well have joined in along with the lenders for the NCLT proceedings. Remember, if this does go through in the next 30 to 40 days, an IRP will be appointed and the entire insolvency proceedings will kickstart. So ahead of all of that, you are seeing a 28% rise in Jet Airways. I think it's got a lot to do with some trading activity as well. Rajesh, it's interesting to note that Tata Coffee, after so many days of a fall, is finally seeing some green on the screen. I think just pull up the stock price and see if it's still managing to hold on. Yes, it's still higher by 3% odd. So this is an uptick we are seeing after 11 days of a downward journey. How would you read into this move?
See, stock was in oversold territory, and if you look at the all time frame, stock is in weak territory. So my advice would be, this pullback should be used as a exit opportunity in the stock. So I feel this pullback can extend up to the level of 82 to 84, where one can exit those who are bought at the lower side. Because looking at the structure, I feel that stock will remain under pressure for any kind of pullback action, and again the supply pressure will come in the stock around 84 kind of level. So my advice would be to exit around 82 to 84 level.
Okay, so clear cut exit or a Tata Coffee. Rajesh not impressed with the charts. Richard, Lakshmi Vilas Bank has its fortunes now more or less intertwined with what happens in the India Bulls group. So while the India Bulls group continues to stay volatile, LVB as well has been showing the same amount of volatility. Your view here?
In just a matter of 2 months, we have seen that the stock has again corrected from its high of around 95 to around 55 levels now. And if you look at some of the historical charts, then around 54, 55, there was a support base formed in the month of February 2019. So the stock has come towards that support level. It would be very crucial to watch whether there is a bounce back move from this 54 or it breaches there. So any existing long positions, if there are, then keep a strict stop loss below 53, because if 53 is a breach, then this correction which we have seen in last couple of months could get extended further.
Okay, so that's the word on LVB today. This one's trying to post a bounce 4% higher. Take a look at Fortis Healthcare. Remember, it had been in the midst of the entire turmoil that was ongoing with respect to the debt on the books and, of course, the acquisition. Today, Nomura has retained a buy, but they've cut the target to 159 rupees, as they do believe that, yes, the hospitals and diagnostics business can see a gradual recovery. The capex intensity will remain low, but they are cutting the earnings estimates as well by 13 to 33%. So there's a target price cut and a cut in the earnings estimates as well. Stock is down by 1.25%. Soumya, what's the news on Adani Green?
Well, multiple reasons when it comes to Adani Green. First being the government has approved dispute resolution mechanism for the solar sector, and precisely that's the reason we're also seeing the Suzlon Energy stock buzzing in trade today. Apart from this, Adani Green is also in focus for bagging projects. Its subsidiary has bagged 600 megawatt wind hybrid project yesterday. That's what the company informed in the exchanges, and even today the company has won 130 megawatt of wind power from Solar Energy Corporation, and this is what's keeping the stock in focus today, higher by over 3.5%.
Okay, 3.5% higher for Adani Green. Ruchit, Piramal Enterprises, we've seen the stock really crumble under pressure of late. It's had some tough times, I suppose, in light of the entire conundrum around the NBFC, situation. But it also, in fact, in the earlier part of the day was at a 52-week low. But from then, see the kind of recovery witnessed over here, and volumes as well are more than triple the last 20-day average. Anything interesting that's catching, your eye?
So many of the stocks today which we have seen that recently the stocks which had corrected significantly have been witnessing a bounce back move. I think this is a pullback move within a downtrend. If you look Piramal Enterprise, the momentum readings actually were in oversold zone. Yesterday when the prices tested the low of around 1725, the RSI was trading somewhere around 21-22, which is quite low level. So today we have been witnessing a pullback move, I think primarily because of this oversold momentum readings, and this pullback should get extended towards its previous support of around 2010. So in next 1 or 2 trading sessions, I think this pullback move should get extended towards 2000 kind of levels.
Okay, so that is the view on Piramal Enterprises. Take a look at Reliance Power meantime, and there is just a semblance of good news coming in. A 3,916 megawatt project at Sasan has received the regulatory nod from CERC, and this nod will enable the company to recover the cost of the system. The stock price did not hesitate to rally, but again, there are more overpowering technical underlyings around stocks, around the entire ADAG pack. It's now almost a penny stock, only 5 rupees, but yeah, 17% uptake after so many days of declining along with the rest of the ADAG pack. By the way, the long-term rating has been cut to C from BB by ICRA. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll just take a very quick break right here on Market Fatafat. Do come right back. We'll continue with the countdown. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on India's #1 business news channel, ET Now. Let's continue with the countdown then, and Divi's Labs is what we are focusing in on. MK has upgraded the stock to a buy target at 1756 rupees, as they believe the company is strongly poised to deliver an 18% CAGR on the EPS over FY19 to 21, and there's also the strong capex intensity, which is making MK confident on being able to deliver that sort of an EPS CAGR. Stock price has been on on a one-way journey up 2.7% higher at the day's high. Soumya, crude prices once again have rebounded. They're continuing to go higher. What exactly is it that OMCs are doing, and what's UBS's view?
Well, yes, UBS has said that refining and crude certainly face some uncertainties, but Reliance and OMCs could be safe havens and they could emerge as prime beneficiaries of IMO 2020 regulations. They believe that integration of refining into marketing could improve their ability to absorb earning bumps, and they're seeing easing political headwinds post the major elections, and in fact they have hiked the price targets for all the OMCs, be it BPCL, HPCL, IOC. In fact, we are seeing a good amount of traction coming in for BPCL, gaining close to about 1.23%.
Well, yes, OMCs are managing to stay resilient. Richard, let's talk about Exide. Or actually before that, Rajesh, let's talk about Bombay Dyeing. That stock has managed to stay lower for the last couple of sessions. In fact, precisely speaking, I think the last 10 sessions. Today as well, it continues to drift lower. Anything that's catching your eye?
If you look at the structure, the stock is underperforming, and even on the weekly chart, stock has given the major breakdown on the weekly chart. So looking at the chart pattern, I feel that stock will furthermore go down towards 90 or 85 kind of level. So I think one should stay away from the stock, and I feel furthermore selling pressure will come in the stock, because looking at the structure, stock structure is very weak across all the time frame. So whatever pullback, if any pullback comes, one should use that pullback to be exit opportunity, and lower side I am expecting 90 to 85 kind of level on the lower side.
Okay, that's the recommendation on Bombay Dyeing. Richard, Exide, after falling for the most part of last week, is trying to now bounce back. It's a nice 3% uptick today. Your view?
195 to 200 is a very crucial support range for the stock. It's a weekly 200 moving average as well as the previous lows as well. So today we have seen that the up move from the support has been backed by increasing volumes, which is a positive sign. So we expect this momentum to continue towards 215 kind of level. So even at current levels, if one is looking for a fresh entry, then one can definitely buy the stock with stop loss below 195 for target around 215.
Okay, so Exide is high by 3.8%, and yes, volume activity as well seen here. Asian Paints, meantime, and CLSA continues to maintain a sell stance. They have a target price of 1,285 rupees. They say that they do see a slight deterioration of the ROEs and working capitals in 2018-19. Yes, there are several new launches, but the outlook is a bit cautious. Nevertheless, the stock price is going higher in trade, 0.5% of an up move. So not too perturbed by that sell rating from CLSA, at least at this point of time. But again, do remember, Asian Paints too has seen some bad days in the last couple of days. Okay, Soumya, yesterday we had seen a massive decline in Shrey. In fact, it was almost, I think, a 10% of a fall, and I think today as well it continues to decline.
Well, yes, this is in fact 11th straight day of losses for the stock, and in fact it's also trading below all the key DMAs. In fact, talking about the stock performance today, the stock fell sharply during the earlier part of the trading session, and right now it's still losing close to about 2.23% and is off the day's low, but it still is losing for the 11th straight day.
Okay, 11th straight day of losses on Shrey Infra. Rajesh, take a look at Cadila. Again, it's seen a few bad days. The stock as well has tumbled to now, I think, 270 odd rupees or below that level. Anything that catches your eye in this rebound that's being attempted by Cadila?
See, the structure is weak for the Cadila across all the time frame, though the stock is trying to show some sort of pullback action in today's trade. But I think one should use this pullback to exit opportunity, and I feel looking at the structure, if it stocks breaks below again 235 level, then I feel that stock will further slide towards 220, even 210 kind of level in the near term to short term. So this pullback should be used as an exit opportunity in the stock, because across all the time frame the structure is weak for the Cadila.
Okay, that is the word on Cadila, 1% higher. But yeah, it's by the way not even at 270, it's at 240 rupees now. So yes, there's been a massive fall there. And Richard, Cipla, again from the pharma space, because today pharma stocks are buzzing. What would you recommend on a Cipla?
The last couple of months, the stock has traded in a broad range of 530 to 570 on the higher side. Today the stock was trading around the lower end of the range, which was a support, and hence we are witnessing this pullback move along with the broader markets. But frankly, unless we see a breakout again above 570 with good volumes, one should not tend to jump in at current levels. But any existing long positions are there, then they could be held with stop below 530. For fresh entry, one should wait for a breakout above 570.
2.8% higher. Well, continuing with pharma stocks, Rajesh, while all the other pharma stocks are gaining, Wockhardt is staying out of that rally. Anything that catches your eye here?
See, the Wockhardt is, going out from this June series from the F&O segment. So the kind of liquidation which we have seen in the last, few trading session, and now in this process of liquidation, we have seen, stock managed to give breakdown of its, important support area of 360-365 zone. So looking at the chart structure, I feel that stock is, in the weak territory now, and if it's continued to trade below 365 level, furthermore supply we can see in the near-term basis. So my advice would be, if stocks retrace towards this 360-365 zone, one should use this pullback as an exit opportunity in the Wockhardt pharma.
By the way, I stand corrected. Wockhardt has seen a sharp spike and now it's higher by more than 2%. Finally, Ruchit, tech stocks have been weak after outperforming for the most part of the last 2 weeks. Ruchit, Wipro today stands to lose.
We had seen a gap down opening today in most of the IT names, but the thing to note is that we have not seen any kind of follow-up selling post that gap down opening, which is more important. But since there is a lack of follow-up selling, one should not take any kind of negative view in this stock, because already this has been one of the outperformer in the recent past. For Wipro, we believe that 280 is the good support and resistance is around 292. So for the next few trading sessions, we may see a time-wise correction or a consolidation phase in this range.
Alright, that's Wipro for you, 2.6% gone. But with that, we're out of time. So Rajesh as well as Richard, thank you for sharing your technical strategies with our viewers. Samya, to you as well. We'll wrap it up. Coming up next is Closing Trades.